everybody, and welcome to NanoChange. I don't really know what this is about. Honestly, I forgot. But I really thought it looked super freaking cool. So, don't know anything about the story, but the art is... Look at this. Wow. How cool, right? And this is neat. Like, what is going on here? Are they freckles? Scars? Spikes? Well, dang. Anyway... This music is much quieter than the other music was. We'll turn it up a tad. We'll see how that do. Late. Sorry. Traffic was a nightmare. Snow everywhere. The highway closed. So that person was an inspector. Yeah, we know. Same for everyone. You're the only senior officer who happened to be here today, actually. That means I'm going to get all the worst cases, ain't I? Indeed. First-degree murder. Here's the file. The suspects are already waiting for you in the interrogation room. Have mercy on me and make them wait for 10 more minutes so I can read this and get some coffee. He's gonna show up. Whoa! I didn't even notice his horns on their face. Or forehead, I guess. But he's gonna go into an interrogation room with this spiky jacket. I think that is a bad idea. You're not supposed to take weapons into an interrogation room. But okay. Here's up somewhere because it stayed quiet. I thought maybe it would get louder. It did not. That's a little lower, too loud. Okay, we'll put it there. Okay, I already read that. The officer agrees, but sadly I'm forced to give up on the second half of my plan. The old school percolator is empty, and I don't have enough time to prepare a new batch of hot liquid energy. To add insult to my withdrawal symptoms, today's affair is coffee related, as in someone got killed in a coffee shop. It's funny. Some guy, not formally identified yet, only an anonymous ID on him, died from ingesting a coffee spice with a high quantity of common medical drugs. Poor man's poison, the coroner called it, a mix of everything you're likely to find inside of a medicine cupboard. Death after consumption was pretty quick due to the victims already being alkalized at the time, and the drugs and alcohol reacting violently to each other. I burped. That's fucked up. Analysis of the liver seems to indicate the victim was an alcoholic. Probable use of a heavy hepatic support program. Therefore, few or no other programs. What? Suicide is a valid hypothesis, but so is murder. In the latter case, the barista, registered as Anna, is the most likely suspect. She had every opportunity to pour the deadly cocktail into the cup. However, the victim didn't go to the counter himself to fetch the drink. Instead, it was the woman he was sharing a table with, identifier Zelda, who got it and brought it back alongside her own order. She could have poured the drugs in the cup while on her way, or even back at the table while the man was looking elsewhere. According to several different witnesses, 2 other employees and a board regular waiting for someone late. Wait, what? Oh, he was waiting for somebody who wasn't there. Okay, I get it, never mind. Another man also went to the victim's table shortly after the deadly coffee was delivered. They had a short but lively conversation, and then the person left the restaurant. A short window of opportunity, but a clearly existing one. Those 3 are supposedly the only ones who got close enough to the cup between the time it was prepared and its consumption, so my dear colleagues have decided to focus all of their attention on them. And indeed, since no trace of poison was found anywhere else in the restaurant except for a small anonymous plastic bag lying on the floor that anyone could have thrown there during the confusion following the death, the logical razor, what? Would have that one of them as a culprit. Is that a thing that I should understand, but I'm doing wrong and didn't understand? Probably. At least they're the most likely to give me any useful information on what happened. Anna and Zelda have already been interrogated, though superficially, along with everyone else who was present in the shop when the cops came in. They were escorted here for a more thorough investigation. The mysterious man known as Mephisto is a faith customer. Faithful. I was like, what? Faith customer? That makes more sense. and someone in the staff had his number. He has consented to the gentle yet firm request that he come to the station to question him. My arm hurts. I feel like my shoulder's got a pop, but it's just not doing it. Okay, I think oh, okay, there it goes. There it goes! Okay. Okay. Sorry. Once I pop some of my knuckles, I gotta pop them all or else it just don't feel right. Okay. Done. Nope, not done. Sorry, one more. Okay, done. I think. So 3 suspects, or at least witnesses, currently kept alone with their thoughts in individual rooms, waiting for someone, anyone, to talk to them. Which one do I want to be first? Let's talk to Zelda. No, let's talk to Anna. Anna, you're archetypal employee of a small brand cafe, part barista, part waitress, cook, cleaner. And she does her part of the day-to-day work needed to keep the place running. Sorry, I don't know how to tell me what happened. It was a slow day at work, far less people than usual. You see, our usual customers are mainly people working nearby, but with the snowstorm, they couldn't make it to work today. No work, no coffee before work. So, for most of the morning, they were, it's probably supposed to say there, were more employees than customers in the shop, and everything was quiet. At some point, that guy came in, a semi-regular, not here every day, but comes frequently enough that I remember his face. He used the alias Otis. Otis? Or is it supposed to be Otis? Or with a U? He asked for the flavor of the week, a dark latte Americano. The right machine hadn't been booted yet, so it took me a bit of time to prepare his order. Like 5, maybe 10 minutes? I didn't really check. As I said, the atmosphere was relaxed. People took their time. Nobody wanted to return into the cold fast. So the girl who was with him came to take his drink. A new face. I've never seen her before. She also ordered an extra espresso for herself and waited at the counter while I made both. She went back to their table with both cups, and I went back to dozing off. Soon after, Mephisto joined them, and they had a verbal fight. They weren't exactly shouting through the whole room, so I didn't understand what they said, but it didn't sound nice. Sorry. Got like a cloggy throat. It was over quickly though. Mephisto backed out before things went too far, and then he collapsed from his chair. Everyone rushed in. He was breathing with great difficulty, suffocating. I tried to help him. Sam, the one in charge that day, called the emergency services, but neither I nor they could do anything. Just died, there in my arms. Aw. And what happened after? I think the medics stormed in, and then the cops. My mind's a blur. Everyone was asking me questions, and I couldn't answer any of them. And then I ended up here in this dark room with you. What can you tell me about Otis? There's not much I can tell you about this guy. I saw him for the first time about 1 month ago, perhaps two actually. Time flies. After that, he came back about twice a week, always ordering the coffee that was a la mode. Often he would just drink it and then be on his way. Sometimes he'd go for a quick chat with Mephisto. Mephisto is that guy who's so often there we start worrying about his well-being when he doesn't show up for a few days. As for the elephant in the room, yeah, the guy clearly had a problem with alcohol. More often than not, he was reeking of it. Never actually ordered anything alcoholic in the cafe though. I think he was trying to hide his addiction. He was probably using mods to keep his mind clear, as he didn't act like Junkman. Was he acting any different today from any other day? Well, he had a girl with him, that's unusual enough, though they didn't seem very close. I think he was wearing some extra perfume too. Maybe to turn on the charm, maybe to hide his usual wine smell. And I think that's all. Until the accident, everything seemed as usual. Tell me about Zelda. Who? The girl that was with Otis. Today was the first time I'd seen her. Well then, tell me what you learned about her today. Well, she looks like an artist, I guess. we're not the most hipster of cafes, but we do get some from time to time. She arrived early in the morning, ordered a simple coffee, then used her computer alone at her table for like half an hour before Otis arrived. She waved at him and he went to join her. They discussed for some time without ordering anything. Then Otis came to the counter to ask for a coffee and returned quickly to his seat. Sorry, I'm having like a weird issue. I can't, it's hard to swallow. She came herself soon after, asked for a refill, did some small talk about the weather while she waited, and went back to their table with both cups. Overall, they looked more like they were negotiating than flirting. Tell me about Mephisto. Mephisto's not there every day, but close enough. I think the cafe is more or less his public office. Some people come just to speak to him. What kind of people? All kinds, actually. He's got quite the varied following. People of all ages, genders, colors. Now that I think about it, though, the people who have long discussions with him never seem like the type that has trouble making ends meet. And for what reason was he that popular with the... what is that, bourgeoisie? Maybe? Bourgeoisie? I don't know, best guess? I can see the cogs in her brain turn as she's trying to formulate a non-suspicious answer. May as well cut short her circumlocutions. Circumlocutions. Is he a dealer? She's taken aback for a second, then answers calmly. No, but he's a biohacker. I nod in understanding. Biohackers are in the gray zone of the law. What they do is technically illegal, but they're tolerated as long as they keep a plausible cover. It's all a consequence of that good old Pulcinella's law? Whatever. Why is this giving me issues? Oh wait, would that be in the encyclopedia? Oh, about names. Distinction between legal names, usage name, and nom de plume name does not exist anymore. A person's name is whatever they choose to respond when asked about it. People may answer to many different names depending on context. A smart card in which... anonymous ID, a smart card in which are stored only information relevant to the rights of its owner. For example, if they're allowed to drive, but not their name, address, physical description, or any other personal data. The method used to guarantee the authenticity of authorizations and ownership may vary, but is generally based upon the advanced cryptography. Biohacker, a programmer specialized in finding ways to circumvent the original limitations of standard nanomachines, to have them perform tasks far beyond their original purpose. Their services can range from minor customization of programs written by other hackers to creating from scratch routines able to entirely replace complex surgical operations. Oh. Modular limit. Hard limit to the number of operations nanomachines can operate simultaneously on a single body. This number is directly correlated to the number of bots into one's body, itself a function of numerous factors. Nanomachines stop self-replicating as soon as they detect they're putting a strain on their host's metabolism. High-priority life support mods are often configured to aim for this limit, disabling every other mod when enabled. My body, my business. It is highly illegal and barely technologically possible for anyone, police included, to read the memory of other dead or alive people's nanomachines to try and determine which program they are or were running. Therefore, even in the context of criminal investigation, experts can at best hazard prudent educated guesses. See also Pulcinella's law. Oh, okay. Pulcinella's, or yes? Yeah? I don't know. Also known as freedom through hypocrisy laws, a body of laws allowing anyone to use the nanomachines inside their own body as they see fit without technically breaking the patents of the Body Fresh company. The trick is having them run an unlicensed program is still illicit on paper, but the law enforces a strict ban on checking the boss's internal memory, making it impossible to prove the misdemeanor, and therefore for trials on those charges to end up with a guilty sentence. The world has been running on that absurd compromise for 10 years now. Okay. Cool. Nice. I'm glad that encyclopedia is there. the air kicked on. I'm only cold while the air is on. As soon as it turns off, I get warm again. So I take off my robe. So I just keep taking it on and off. Did he have an agreement with the shop? More or less. We didn't ask questions and he left generous tips. Had he brought disputable clients, maybe things would have been different, but his customer base was clean enough. Do you know what services he offers exactly? No, curiosity killed the cat. And how was he acting today? At the beginning, as usual, working on his computer on his usual seat. I remember finding it very strange that he went to talk to Otis. Oh, I can click on those things? Wait. They went to talk to Otis. Normally he lets people come to him and never meddles with the other customers. How did all... oh, okay. Unusually aggressive today. I see. So, that's in notes? Yeah. What I found even stranger is that he left immediately after. Usually he stays in most of the day. You're suspecting him, ain't you? Wouldn't anyone? Though we thought he was harmless, he's an outlaw after all. Maybe he felt the Bobson were on his track and lost it. Bobson? What are those? Oh, Bobson and Bobson. Parent company of BioFresh, the century-old pharmaceutical... Oh my god, I get it. Johnson & Johnson. Century-old pharmaceutical giant. Nowadays, the company is mainly known for its intensive lobbying, its abusive lawsuits, and its numerous barely legal intimidation maneuvers. All meant to have nanomachines as users, pay them good money, and conform to what they addict is proper use of their technology. They lost most of their edge after the Pulcinella's law was enacted. They still can ruin a given person's life if determined enough. Let's focus on the last minutes. Let's start back from the moment you finished preparing both coffees. At that time, where exactly in the cafe were Otis, Mephisto, and Zelda and yourself? I was behind the counter. Zelda en route to her and Otis's table. Otis and Mephisto were both seated at their usual spots, just a few steps away, each minding their own business. Okay, how did those positions evolve from that moment? Mine didn't. Zelda sat at her table, then Mephisto rose and closed the distance to Otis. Not a minute later, he left, almost in a straight line with just a minimal detour to grab his stuff. Then, end of the world. No idea who did what at what moment, as it was utter chaos. Let's go back a little. No one else crossed paths with any of you four, from the moment the coffee was pulled to the tragic end? No, if that had been an usual day, I wouldn't be able to say that, for sure. There's always someone else waiting at the bar in the alleys. But today, there were so few people that each of them were really standing out. I would remember. No more questions. Let's talk to Mephisto. Mephisto. Trying way too hard to look cool, from a poor naming sense to a slightly shady style, has no chance to win at that game against me. What? Are you saying you're cooler than him? Is that what you're saying? Tell me what happened. I talked to a guy. That guy died shortly after, and I'm obviously a suspect. Let me tell you, this is all bad luck on my side. This guy Otis owed me money and had been avoiding me as of late. Okay. Cause of death, poison with base meds, mods, reinforced liver. Poison acted quicker than it should have due to high alcohol consumption. Alcoholic tried to hide it, people are not fooled. Extra effort to dissimulate his alcohol. Owed me money. Oh, okay. Do I have to click on them to make them appear here? If so, that would suck. Since he was there for once, I took the opportunity, because I haven't done it yet. Nobody told me to do it, so I didn't do it. Since he was there for once, I took the opportunity to ask for my cash. When he tried to play dumb, I just rage quitted. How much did he owe you? Not much, that was more the principle of the thing. Tell me what you can about the victim. Otis has been an irregular customer as of late. As far as I remember, he never came just for a coffee, but always to discuss rather professionally with someone. The cafe was more or less his meeting room. What kind of business was he doing there? Journalism or research? Occupational journalist. Biohacker. Was within reach of the cup during his preparation. I remember him conducting interviews more than once, but I didn't hear enough of those conversations to grasp their subjects, and I didn't cry. Anything else you can remember? Any remarkable habit, for instance? Well, I think he tried hitting on Anna a few times. At least I remember her rebuffing him several times. What can you tell me about Anna? The serving girl? I haven't interacted much with her, but from what I've seen, she's basically average. I was already a regular when she got hired. That was about 2 years ago, I would say. Does this job because it pays at least part of the bills, and does it well enough, but it's hardly her life's passion. She's also often there when I'm at the cafe. Guess that's her main gig. Nothing unusual at all? It takes a minute to think about your question. Well, sometimes. I feel like she's trying a bit too hard to fit in. The employee. Extra efforts to blend in the crowd. For example, I once overheard a conversation between her and several of her colleagues where she was pretending to know about some popular band from 10 years ago when it was painfully obvious she had no idea who they were. Likewise, she used to occasionally employ some pretty uncommon Latin idioms, then turned red as if she had said something terrible when someone raised an eyebrow in surprise. She updated her speech pattern to get rid of them entirely since then. You're quite observant, aren't you? Need to be for my job. Identifying bad clients early is a crucial part of it. Let's talk about you. I work in computers for a living. That's certainly technically true, like everything you've told me so far. But I don't want prudent half-lies, Mr. Mephisto. I want you to help me with my investigation. As a senior police officer, I'm operating on a criminal affair. I'm entitled to give you free pass on any minor breach of law you may have committed. And of course, your testimony will be anonymized. So stop playing around and tell me what Otis really wanted. What Otis really wanted of a popular biohacker. I don't. Please. The nano specialist bits his lip. Oh, bits? Bits his lip? Bites, maybe? Bites his lip and remains silent for what feels an eternity. I want an official written agreement that anything I could tell you won't bite me back in the ass. Sure, I'll fetch you that. After reading the paper shield twice, he finally agrees to my terms. I've worked for Otis several times in the past. It was more or less an intriguing side job of mine. You see, my usual work is more boring than it sounds. It's like 70% never-ending meetings with indecisive customers, 20% tedious follow-ups and a tuning, and 9% recycling past code and 1% unexplored territories. Otis didn't want custom-fit mods for himself. I'm sure he was using some related to his alcohol problem, but I'm not the one who made them. Fixing livers is too complex for me. I'm honestly impressed by the gals who managed to build such programs. The fairies simply weren't made out for that. You need some serious skills. Have them perform that way. The fairies? Is he talking about the nanobots? Did I miss anything? Just make sure before I read this. Fairies, nickname of the common nanobots, a reference to how they were called in the ads for the Enchanted Beauty Mask, a product for which they were originally created. Following the scandal of the Great Spread and the reappropriation of the bots by their new host for diversion and unprecedented usages, appellation has become somewhat ironic. But I don't think you want to hear about my idols. Otis, then. Guy was some sort of theoretician of nanomachines. He always had a billion questions about what they could do and not do. When his interrogations were simple enough, I'd humor him. Sorry, it's just there's a mistake in writing. I'd humor him by answering him against a coffee. When they needed further research and experimenting on my side, I'd have him pay me a small fee. It's messed up both times. As of late, he had been interested in slewing? With some pretty complex questions. Slowing. The act of discarding one's skin, as reptiles do. Also slang for a long series of nano modifications designed to reshape entirely one's face and our body, due to the metaphor of the person leaving behind their old appearance in the same way the snake gets rid of its used scales. Slowing is the main reason any kind of appearance-based authentication has been obsoleted, even though a full slowing could take years to complete. Heavy stuff. Needed quite a bit of time to find him answers, so I upped my fees. He had accepted my rates, but he must have overestimated the size of his wallet because I never got the money. Said he would pay me after some big event. I think he was trying to close a deal for a book or something like that. So today, since he couldn't escape without dumping his girl, I nicely asked for an update. He played dumb. I said some bad words and decided to go elsewhere to cool down my head. There's obviously something more to Mephisto's little scene. He claims he just wanted to ask for his money, yet he waited patiently in his own corner while his debtor was alone at his table, before suddenly jumping to his throat just after he got his coffee. Zelda. Her hair is so cool, I love it. The wild card of this story. Nobody admits to knowing her, and she was quite close to the victim when he died. Tell me what happened. I think it all started last Tuesday. I was working on my personal projects when I received a message about the potential commission from a person using the alias Otis. He wanted a realistic portrait, not necessarily my forte, but I wasn't going to refuse a paid gig. His requirements were complex, and since we lived in the same city, I agreed. Okay, she said it twice. Was that supposed to be there? I agreed. I agreed, perhaps foolishly, to meet him face to face to discuss the matter further. Fast forward to this morning. I'm early, he's not. I'm getting some paperwork done while he's enjoying a cup of coffee. Finally, he comes in, greets me, done while enjoying a cup of coffee. Sorry, I read he's, but it wasn't there. Ugh. I had to burp, but it went away as soon as I gave myself a chance to burp. Finally, he comes in, greets me, orders a coffee, and we get to talk about his project. Soon his coffee is ready, I go fetch it, and a new one for myself while I'm at it. I've only just returned to our table when another customer walks straight towards us and starts arguing crassly with Otis. He answers similarly, and the man runs away in a rage. Why is your shirt only half tucked in, though? I think that's bothering me. Why? I'll never know what this was about, as Otis... Wait. I'll never know what this is about, as Otis then drank his coffee and Hell's Gate opened. I guess you've already seen men dying in your line of duty, but I've never had before today. That was even more horrible than anything I could have imagined. He looked sick, then in pain, then he fell from his seat. People tried to help him, but life just wouldn't stop leaving his body, a bit more with each passing moment. I cannot describe it with words. I hadn't known that man for more than a few minutes, so I didn't really feel grief. But the swiftness with which death took him away, that's some terrifying shit for sure. Did you notice anything unusual with the staff? Not really. Average employees of an average shop. Did you interact with any of them? Just the girl that made my coffee. We had a short yet deep philosophical discussion about how cold and how snowy it is. Did you say or do anything special? From what I could see, she did not put anything strange into Otis's coffee, nor did she do anything outstanding. Frankly, I even remember finding her a bit bland. Let's focus on Peter. I don't know if there's really anything I can add about that man. He was there when I arrived behind his computer, focused on his screen. I wondered if he could be Otis, but he did not match the description my client had sent me. After that, I forgot about his existence until the incident. What did he say exactly? An incoherent litany of bad words. I'm not sure even he understood what he was trying to say. And how did Otis react? Similarly, not the finest hour of either of them. And then, the man gave up and departed angrily. Tell me about why you're working with Otis. He provided me with a set of photos of some people and asked me to imagine and draw what they would look like with a few more years, different hair and eye color, alternative skin tones, subtle changes in bone structure, etc. It was all very strict. I was working an artist's impression of what a person could look like now. Okay. He had made several lists, each with a precise combination of transformations that he wanted to see applied. And what did the results look like? Nothing like anyone I know, and nothing like anyone that was in the cafe today. If that's what you want to know, I have some of the sketches with me if you want to see them. Please do. Any hint can be relevant. The half dozen of rough drawings show unknown but surprisingly diverse visages. I think that's how you say that word. I know what it means. Of course I know what it means. No. I just don't know how to say it. Facial features are heavily different from one image to the next. A full gradient from smoothness to hardness, lightness to darkness. There's also a photo from looks like a posh, long-haired high schooler. Are they all supposed to be slight variations of the same girl? Yeah, all the changes were minor, but the lists were very long. Was he looking for someone? So, asking in-depth questions about deep nano reshaping. Commissioning artistic visions of what someone could look like after a specific series of transformations. Seems like the victim was trying to determine the current appearance of someone having undergone an integral transformation. In other words, he was an identity tracker. Wait. I want to see. What? A private investigator specializing in tracking persons through names, locations, and appearance changes. After breaching every single privacy law in the process. So he was not a good guy, I guess. He's breaking a bunch of laws and shenanigans. What's the saying again? Among the muckrackers, no one is hated as much as the identity tracker. In the Renaissance age of privacy, the identity tracker is a sin of the past, sniffing out past sins. Nevertheless, the answer I'm trying to unearth is probably related to the victim's occupation, and maybe to who he was, or maybe to who he was in here twice. He was trying to find, and why. He could have been an in-depth tracker, searching for some lucrative scandal. In that case, the girl in the photo should be famous, rich, or from a famous or rich family. But he could as well be working under contract, finding track of somebody someone else has lost sight of against a great deal of money. And in my line of duty, the sponsor of such searches is more often than not a mafioso seeking for a bad payer or traitor to the family, not someone the tract went to meet at any cost. Why did you prove? I guess we get to read all of them, so might as well start at the top. He instantly tenses up. Being compromised with an identity tracker is one of my worst nightmares. You see, what most of my clients want above all else is discretion. They really don't like the idea of anyone they don't know being aware of even their most minor or obvious transformations. And being associated with an identity tracker is basically telling the whole world that you're a greedy secret seller. Some must have approached you through the years. Of course, it's part of my job to make it clear I won't ever work with them. What about Otis? Do you have information I don't have? But yes, I was having doubts about him. He played the scholar quite well, but as of late, I found some of his questions far too much oriented. Actually, he stopped paying me about the time I started being more prudent with my words around him. Don't know if that's evidence against or in favor of him. Photo. Well, could you tell me who this is? He stares at the photo for a full moment before answering. Sorry, but no. Would love to have her as a client though, because she seems loaded. Did you wait? Wait. You didn't go to Otis when he entered the cafe, or did you while he was waiting alone? You only moved when he was about to drink his coffee. Oh, I can see how this may make me look suspicious, but the truth is more bland than that. From my seat, I could overhear some parts of their conversation. And well, at the moment, Otis was dodging the issue of when he would pay her for her work. That made my blood boil, so I jumped in to placate him as the untrustworthy man he is. He didn't really let me speak though, and quickly pushed me into true anger territory, a state in which I'm only able to babble pitifully. So I fled, not exactly proud of myself. What did he say to you? He's cried aggressively, pretending not to know me. The whole virtue outraged act. Threw in a few insults about my mental state. Not very original, but quite efficient. Didn't know how to react at all except with anger. Fine, but while we're at fixing your testimony, that's weird. And now we've made clear you could hear what Zelda and Otis were saying. Please tell me what they did say. I like this game. It's interesting. It's a lot of this, but I think I remember this is basically all it's about, is we're just trying to figure out why he died by questioning these two people over and over. I didn't hear everything, but yeah, maybe I've heard some bits. However, you're going to be disappointed. They were both talking like someone else could be listening to them, only alluding to subjects and never being explicit about them. However, I think that was more than mere care about privacy. They reminded me of two poker players with a bad hand, each trying to outbluff the other. From what I grasped, Otis was insinuating something very strongly. The word reputation came back a few times. Zelda kept her cards close to her chest, asking piercing questions but never revealing her intentions. They had some drawings and photos in between them. Couldn't say if they were arguments or apples of discord. The whole affair smelled of money, but they only broad the subject after a short break to get coffee. Was it supposed to be broached? And I thought they never succeeded at coding super hearing. Wait, I thought, oh, him. It's like a stab at him. Wait, he does enhance senses. He does have enhanced senses. I thought it was just like him being a bubble. It's not that hard to program the nanomachines to improve the mechanical part of hearing. But it takes a lot of tedious training to make your brain properly use your new capacities. It cannot affect the nerves directly, after all, so you have to teach your body the right reflexes the old way through repetition of exercises. That's why restoring hearing is easy with the current technology, but making it far better than average never caught up. I do know all that, but I let him show off. A confident suspect is a talkative suspect. No more questions. Why would we think she had a fight with Otis? I wouldn't call it a fight. Guy wanted to, oh, right, because she rebuffed him. Guy wanted to know more about me. I said I wasn't interested. He insisted. I may have spoken a little louder than I intended to. Once? Maybe twice or thrice. But you know, it's all too common to receive unwanted attention from customers. Usually I'm just better at handling such interactions. What did he say or tried to do that ended up blowing your fuse? He was very inquisitive, trying to pry into my private life, and he called me by whatever name crossed his mind at the moment, instead of the one on my tag. Show photo. Do you know who this is? She blinks a few times at the picture. Yeah, that's Phoenix Doors, one of the Doors' children. Big money, probably works at the family company today. The family name rings a bell. A quick search on your phone brings in a sharply dressed young woman. You recognized her instantly from such an old photo? She hasn't changed much, as you can see. I must agree with her. After several years doing this job, you tend to take for granted people shed skin twice a year. But that's far more true. A lot of people actually prefer to keep looking the same as long as possible. Still, you've recognized her instantly from an old photo. That's impressive. Well, we went to the same music school a long time ago. The internet does confirm that the Doors' girls did take piano lessons at prestigious and expensive conservatoire as part of her studies. Could never be 100% sure, but looks like the girl in the photo is indeed Phoenix Door. A girl who never went rainbow at all. Go rainbow. To willingly change one's identity. The idiom conveys the idea that the person cut all ties with her previous life and all means available to craft a new one from a blank page. So why would an identity tracker focus his efforts on her? Zelda. Ever wonder about Otis's motives? Oh, I would hazard he was... What? He was a facade for a rich girl wanting to know beforehand I would hazard. Okay. Beforehand, what she would look like after a full makeover. Do you believe that? Not really, but as long as I have at least one innocent explanation available, I can accept that kind of job without my conscience ringing too strongly. And what are your less innocent theories? When someone asks what is basically a facial composite, I tend to get the idea they are trying to catch someone. And what's your opinion on identity trackers then? Everyone's got to make a living. Blame capitalism, not me. If I had to guess right now who did it, I would say that the barista did it because she switched places with Phoenix Doors way back when. And he is, found out. Seems like your discussion with Otis was heated. You never worked as a freelancer, did you? Clients always complain about everything, comparing your work to not to what they asked, but what they imagined. That may be true, but we have several testimonies suggesting that particular conversation went far beyond that. You talked about plausible deniability before, but as of now, it's obvious you were far too involved for that. For just 1 second, she sat silent, weighing her options. Fine, maybe Otis was suggesting that he had some big catch at the end of his line. It would be my best financial interest to keep working for him. Details, please. Some girl, rich, prestigious family, public image thoroughly controlled, lots of skeletons in the closet. He was tracking a minor flaw in the storytelling of a rich, prestigious family, you know? The kind that thoroughly controlled public image and a whole cemetery in the closet. One of their own had been slowly fading away from their official propaganda through time. At first she was quite prominent in the glossy pictures, then her appearances became scarce and into the background until she entirely vanished. And according to Otis's expertise, she was showing signs of using some heavily reshaping mods in her last pictures. The changes in her bone structure were quite clear in that regard, he said. And she was trying to convince me that, or he was trying to convince me that, from this tenuous lead, he had almost discovered everything that happened, and that with just a little extra push, he could get a lot of money, either from the girl or her family. He did not drop any names, so for all I know, he could be lying out of his buttocks. And what would have been your role in his scheme? Unclear. I think he was trying to get an idea of what the chimera he was chasing looked like at different stages of her life, so he could determine the details of what happened. Honestly, I branded him as completely delusional, mostly harmless man. I did not think he would have succeeded at discovering anything money-worthy. But my jaw's getting tired from talking. Ah, jeez. But I was still trying to get paid for the work already done, so I needed to keep the conversation going by playing his game, on the surface at least. No, you couldn't find anyone in the Doors family matching the description from Otis. Maybe you should ask Anne about this. She seems surprisingly resourceful at identifying persons from upper class with very little information. I have a peculiar request for you. I need to identify someone from a family like the Doors. Upper class stuff, who vanished from public sight a few years ago. Willingly or not. In a way that the involved persons would not like to be heard about. That's not helping much. Some of those families are quite secretive, even the most trivial things. They frown at people simply suggesting they may poop. Let's try it another way. From what reason would a golden child fade away? Pretty much anything, I would say. Could be someone who grew up in public relationship land, got a doctorate degree, and then went to live their own life, far away from constant gossip. Could be the black sheep of the family pushed away due to their terrible behavior before even moms and dads' money could not buy them a blank criminal record anymore. Could just be a change in self-marketing strategies, switching people under the spotlight to match the trends. What if I had the person in question went as far as to completely remodeling their face and body? It could still be anybody who does not change appearance radically at least once in their life nowadays. Look at you, for example. How do your own mother recognize you? Does? According to her, I could look like the Mona Lisa or the Scream. She would still recognize me all the same, because I'll still be the same stubborn idiot underneath. It's funny. Oh yeah, vulpem pilum mutat non mores. I guess. I don't know what that says. Something about changing, but not dead, maybe? She let the Latin flow out naturally with an Italian-sounding accent, which you guess is the accurate pronunciation. Then she almost bit her tongue when quickly switching back to English. That means the fox changes his fur, not its habits. Oh, I see. Good to know. There's a similar expression with a scorpion, I think. Let's look at her notes. Journals. Identity tracker. Poison acts quick, alcoholic, extra effort to dissimulate. Was investigating Phoenix doors. Makes no sense. Prepared cup that was ultimately poisoned. Extra efforts to blend in with the crowd. Was pestered by Otis. Had an altercation with the victim. Was acquaintance with the victim. The victim was owing him money. Unusually aggressive today. Was working on an artist's impression of the person who looked like. Brought up the deadly cup to the victim. Was within reach of the cup during its preparation. Deeper in Otis's scheme than she likes to pretend. Oh, weird. Okay. We'll read what she said to him. The fox may switch clothes, he remains a fox. Or something like that. I searched the internet for it that very morning. Why? Well, I must have heard it. I was curious of its sense. Who told you that? No one. It was a piece of Zelda and Anna's conversation. And you have particularly good hearing. Yes, we already covered that. So you wouldn't mind telling me what else they said? Because that doesn't exactly sound like a sentence anyone would naturally utter between, "Oh, it's so cold today," and "Did you watch the news? The highway is closed down." Mephisto freezes, suddenly conscious of his newly found confidence pushing him to make a mistake. Well, they did speak about the weather, but they may have dropped some allusions to other subjects, like soft-spoken, passive-aggressive jabs. It's so cold today. That's a good thing you stopped living on the streets. Oh. A good cup of coffee will warm you up, except for your heart. Nothing can warm that dead relic of you. What the heck? Nice hat. Perfect for winter. Which of your lackeys knitted it for you? Were you late today due to the storm? Who am I kidding? You're always late. Vulpem pilum mutat non mores. Don't forget your change, and please forget about me for once and for all. Keep it as a tip that I would love to respect your damnatio memoriae. If only they were any good at keeping the charade. That's brutal. Yeah, I got the idea they know each other and are not exactly friends. And why didn't you tell me this sooner? Silence sets in. Heavy, loud, agonizing silence. So maybe the barista was attempting to poison Zelda and mixed up the cups? Or maybe Zelda poisoned Otis, attempting to blame it on the barista. You got the idea. I try to keep my ears and my eyes wide open most of the time, just in case. And, well, I saw the poison being poured into Otis's cup. Why didn't you say that sooner? More silence. I don't push him. It was definitely not a normal addition to a well-brewed coffee, so even though I hated the guy at the goddamn identity tracker who abused my trust to better blackmail some of my clients, I jumped in to try and save his life. But he misinterpreted my gesture, thought I was going to sabotage his big new plan, and didn't let me speak. It wasn't the first time we had fights like that, actually. And then I decided the ingrate bastard could go to hell, and abandoned him to his drugged beverage. At that time, I was convinced it was some sleeping pills, that he was simply going to get robbed. When I learned he actually died, I panicked. Not having help technically made me partner in crime with a murderer. So I decided to pretend I knew nothing, heard nothing, saw nothing. Not really a smart move, but anything to escape jail. I guess I kind of understand that. Who did it, Mephisto? First, I want... Who? Zelda. Oh, interesting. With no hesitation, quickly, almost under her victim's nose, just after she sat back at their table. Magician-level dexterity, she dropped the pills from her sleeve into the open cup in an instant. let's go talk to Zelda. What? Just testing a theory. Oh, she didn't say anything to that. Lady is not going anywhere. Let's hear everyone's true testimony before confronting her. Damnatio memoriae. The most terrible sentence of Roman law. To have one's existence utterly removed from history down to their name. Oh shit. But the term is inappropriate for someone who disregarded her identity of her own will. My sister just loves to show off her Latin even though I was always better at it. Oh, they're siblings. You're not even denying it? Unless you speak random Latin phrases at all your suspects, I guess you know everything at this point. I'm more interested in what you know, saw and heard and what you guessed. I didn't see her poison Otis with my eyes, but she flashed me with the pills inside a plastic bag taped to the back of her sleeve, when she said she was once again going to solve the problem herself while I was too busy fleeing. And you didn't stop her? The bitch had all power over me at the moment. One phone call to Mom and goodbye freedom. For good this time, as I'm pretty sure she managed to put the blame of Father's death upon me. The family would just have thrown me in some hole forever. And oh, they didn't actually. Okay, so maybe she didn't actually go to school with Phoenix. She is Phoenix, right? Possibly, potentially. The family would have just thrown me in some hole forever, and she still would have had her way without any extra interference. Let's be clear, she didn't kill a man to protect the new identity of her dear sister. She did it half to protect her name's reputation, half because she is prideful enough to believe she could 100% do it without being caught. I can have you registered to the New Life Police program if you cooperate. It will be easier than building yet another identity from scratch. I have no reason not to accept at this point. What do you want to know? Everything. Alright. You're some first-grade manipulative bitch, aren't you, Serafina? Oh shit! That's one hell of a way to come at it. I don't think the law give you the authority to insult me, Inspector. Take it as a compliment. It's not every day I meet someone so good at playing their fellows. You had, what, about half an hour in a paddy wagon with those two? And you still managed to persuade them with a few touches so subtle the officer didn't even put them in their report? That obstructing the instruction was their better chance to escape this mess in one piece? Admittedly, both were already terrified, each of their own reason, but still, quite impressive. I have no idea what... Let's start me with the beginning. What? Then let me start with the beginning. Several weeks ago, Otis tried to blackmail you. He had discovered that your long-lost sister, who had disappeared shortly before your father's death, was still alive under a fully reinvented identity. He didn't know all the details of your familial affairs, but he did guess rightfully that something you would rather keep secret. His error was to think the only measures you would take would be of monetary nature. You managed to have him send you some of his proofs, including the transformation sketches. That's when you started to show just how devious you could be. You identified the artist, commissioned some sketches of your own, then stole her online identity. The last part we can prove. It took some work, but we managed to contact her and confirm she lost access to her art account several weeks ago. Oh shit. Identity theft is a serious crime. One should not accuse someone carelessly, especially when your so-called proofs are so weak. What if I say I have no idea what you're talking about, but that Otis specifically asked me to imitate the style of the artist he was previously working with? I'm not sure Jerry will be convinced of such a far-fetched explanation. I don't need them to be convinced of my innocence, just to doubt my culpability enough. I know you're actually a lawyer and you enjoy far too much those technicalities, but let me finish my story before jumping to the trial. Yeah, that's weird. Why they made that lets me a mistake twice. So you put on your most colorful wig and pretended to be the original artist. You contacted Otis. Her hair honestly makes me want to dye my bangs. Like, how cool. I mean, they would be short, so it wouldn't be the end of the world. Maybe. We'll see. Pretending to be the original artist. You contact Otis and asked for a meeting in the flesh before continuing your collaboration. He accepted, and you dutifully prepared the poison. You're a prudent woman with higher than average knowledge of lethal doses due to your past and profession, so I suppose you carefully planned your little mix not to kill too quickly. Acting on that hypothesis, we asked every cab companies and assimilated and finally found that someone had requested a ride for a couple, including a sick man near the cafe position about 10 minutes before the time of death. The car never came, slowed down by the weather, then blocked by the commotion due to the death. But it's hard to believe it would be for anyone but the murderer and their dying victim. You probably planned to have the cab leave you both near a place you could have discreetly finish the job and get rid of the body. If that plan had worked, at best, we will have discovered Otis was taken out by some mysterious person impersonating an artist, a far too miserable lead to ever catch you. Here comes the first straw of bad luck in your perfect plan. Otis was an alcoholic, a well-known fact for every employee and regular in the cafe, but not for you. And thus your perfect little plan crumbled when the combination of alcohol and drugs killed him almost instantly. You couldn't escape, and you ended up here under meticulous scrutiny. You sure spin a good tale. Now please lay down your proofs. I will even help you. I confess to be a con artist. When that stupid guy asked for someone able to draw in the style of, I simply commissioned the original artist, then pretended to be the author. However, I just wanted to strip him bare of his money. I have no correlation whatsoever to his death. That's an interesting defense, but with some basic flaws. First, when I asked you to show me the drawings and the original photo, you purposely put aside the images resembling a bit too much of your sister's current look. Same thing for the photo. You didn't give me the one Otis sent you, but a random one from your own archives. Sadly for you, you picked an easily recognizable student of your elite high school, rendering your life quite transparent. The true artist provided us with the original photo and the missing sketches, to leave no doubt about the fact that Anna was the true target of Otis. Okay, I panicked. I thought these images were damning evidence of the barista girl's culpability, but I didn't want to be the one who sent her to jail. After all, maybe she had good reasons for her actions. Who am I to judge? And Otis sure did not strike me at a nice man. Though that doesn't prove anything. The most innocent of people do the most stupid things under pressure, and you're quite a pressuring person. Indeed, afraid to lose it all, and the truth was revealed. Everyone lied in this whole affair, with an impressive consistency, actually. You did help them quite a lot by coding each of your own speeches before and after the fact, under a ton of seemingly innocent words, building up a complex illusion upon which they could easily base their own lies. But you made some basic mistakes. First, you didn't do enough research on the location of your meeting, and you learned the hard way. Otis found it very funny to have business talks under his target's nose. Of course, in spite of your vivid disguise, Anna recognized you on the spot. Vulpem pilum mutat non mores, and you chose badly by not instantly bailing out. Instead, you couldn't help but taunt and threaten her, and were so cocky you even showed off the poison to her. The word of the most likely culprit against mine? I somehow don't feel like I'm in any danger. We also have a direct witness of your crime. That's not possible. Unless someone did catch a subtle movement of your arm behind the huge back of your chair thanks to its reflection in your nice glasses. That's not humanly possible, and you cannot enhance vision beyond a certain threshold even with the latest nanomods. That's incorrect. You cannot enhance vision only with mods, but it's technically feasible. There's even scientific literature on that subject. And we did medically confirm the witness had a good enough vision for that impressive feat. Is your super witness of good morality? Are you, Miss, I probably killed my father? Your tale is becoming quite intricate, Inspector. Yeah, that part isn't relevant to the current affair. Don't doubt. I don't know why I got stuck on that. Though don't doubt, we'll be looking into it before long in light of the new pieces we gathered. With two testimonies, a good idea how you could have pulled it off, and a motive, I have far enough. The wording is weird sometimes. I have far enough to put you behind bars for now. The judiciary system will decide your ultimate fate. I just need one small piece to close the case. Should I arrest you under the identity of Zelda, mysterious con artist? Or would you rather be known as Seraphina Wagon, prestigious lawyer? NanoChange. Art by Gabicho, text by Skarn. Tracks, detective story. Done, NaNoRandom 2019. That was pretty good. Not what I thought it was about, but it was pretty good. And I really did like the art. I do want to see more by this person. I don't know if this person does have more that they've created. But I would like to see more. Oh my god, there's so many games I want to play lately. Oh, I don't have enough time. Even if I play them all, I can't upload them all. Okay, this is odd. Anyway, thank you everybody for coming out and playing with me. I had a ton of fun, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!